African American History 101, Facing Fear, Overcoming Trauma. Let's get right to it. Today we're talking about from the cotton fields to the boardroom. A lot of people know, some don't know, but the fact of the matter is that the founding fathers of these United States of America held slaves. And they built everything around that same system. System of the Constitution, every organization, every corporation. There's a hierarchy. And there was always some form of, y'all in the corporate world know this word, subordinates. And so let's get right into it and talk about how that affects us and how it creates fear that stems from trauma, or how it triggers fear that stems from trauma. We're going to start in the cotton fields. Now, I'm going to use myself because I told y'all I can't talk about nobody else, but I can talk about me real good. I used to work for the state of Illinois. When I was working for the state of Illinois, I was a field counselor initially. And it wasn't until I left that I figured out this terminology is like funny, not funny. I was a field counselor. I'd go out to people's homes, and we were the first line of defense. Firstly, for home services. After being a field counselor, I became an in-house counselor, whereas I didn't have to go outside anymore. I only took care of the people who were within the facility, in the house. When the state of Illinois started using me as a pawn in a chess game because I showed them that I was no longer agreeable with their politics and them using me for my ideas, but not wanted me in the various rooms, but they would call me and say, hey, I'm going to meet with such and such. What do you think about this? But every time I went to get a higher position, I was refused the position, but you keep calling me and asking me about my ideas. Anyway, moving on. They put me back in the field as a punishment. And when they put me back in the field, they increased the work by 500%. Had me working for various different areas in the field. Now let me connect this. Remember slavery. The darkest people who worked the hardest worked in the field. The ones who worked extremely hard and got burned by the sun were the ones who picked the cotton. There were people who worked in the shade, but they were still in the field. You know, the lighter greens, wheat, things of that nature need some shade. And so they were a little bit closer to the house, but not so much. Think about working in a corporation or any type of agency that you're working in. Start with security that patrols outside, lower level clerks. Those will be initially like the lower paid first line of defense workers. Then you have secretaries, coordinators, things of that nature. And they have like a lower level management person telling them what to do. Let's go back to the field and compare that with the mentality of the field workers who worked either under the trees or out there under the burning sun picking cotton. And the mentality where they're backbiting against each other, will tell on each other, will continue to oppress each other in an effort. The one who's in the sun does not want to go out into the field. Deep out into the field, the one in the shade does not want to go further out into the field, so he's in the burning sun. And the one who's in the sun wants to get a little bit closer to the shade. So they're backbiting and pitting each other against each other, creating this huge controversy. Then you make it to lower management. Low-level supervisor. And think about, who do you have over you? If you're a supervisor, you have someone who's in lower management, who used to be in your position. And they're going to whip you down and beat you down. If you want some vacation, they may or may not approve your vacation. They're going to take your ideas right in front of your face. Don't act like I'm the only one. They'll take your ideas right in front of your face and act as though they're their own ideas. Anything that you write or contribute belongs to that company. And there's always some type of formality to make you know that you are a subordinate. Your junior staff, your lower level, or you're just a regular worker. As you get up in the hierarchy where you made it into the house, in slavery, that would be the butlers who answered the doors, the people who cleaned, the people who cooked. And all of these people, they didn't want to go into the field. So they were always backbiting with the people who were underneath them. Then you have the people who made it to supervise those folk. And the people who made it in the house. And unless you were the company owner, vice president, in government entities, you have bureau chiefs, directors, assistant directors, general management, supervisors. Everybody is always putting you at a level beneath them, to the point that you feel subservient. I don't want to take too much time off of my job because they may replace me. I don't want them to think that I don't want my job. So I start to put my loyalty to a company or corporation over my family. It doesn't matter what I'm doing, but I'm working. I'm working 80 hours a day to make someone else and their ideas richer, while I'm neglecting my family, I'm neglecting myself, I'm stressed off because I'm afraid, because people talk to me any type of way. And I'm saying I instead of you all, because again, I talk about myself. And so all of that trauma that came from being in a dysfunctional household, dysfunctional chains, fear of being alone, fear of not being able to take care of my family, not being cut off from my good government job, my good company job, even if it's my good food service job, and not being able to take care of my family. Fear of not being good enough, always being passed up on a promotion and being made to feel as though you're not good enough, but then feeling the contradiction of people asking you for your ideas. And then one day coming to a conclusion that either there's something you can do about it, leave, get another position, go somewhere else, start your own business, and then being held back because of those feelings of feeling like you're not good enough, and remembering every time that you got passed up for a position, and then remembering in the ears of people within your inner circle doubting you, and staying and being stuck in a position because you don't know what to do. I've had people to tell me, what am I supposed to do? I'm stuck here. Yeah, my supervisor cusses me out and tells me I'm no good. She refuses my vacation. I'm about to lose my mind. I'm at my wit's end, but what am I going to do? And they literally act like a job has them in chains, as though they don't have an ability to move around, to do something different. And once you're entrapped by your mind, you are stuck. Now, I want to go back to the first few lessons with that. Even when it comes to your employment, what is the worst thing that can happen to you? I can say I quit my government job. I actually resigned 19 months ago. And the most hilarious part about me resigning is when I sent the email telling them I was resigning, they actually told me that I couldn't quit. And after I laughed and thought in my mind, what type of plantation is this really? You can't quit? You got to know when to fold them. I wrote another email making it clear that I wasn't asking for permission, and I left. Has it been at a higher rate of difficulty not working for that company and being dependent on a check? Yes, it has been. I'm not gonna lie. Has it been worth it? Yes. If I was still working for a government job, I would not have the time or the energy to be on here talking to y'all. I would be exhausted working long after the 8 hours that I signed up for to actually be productive with the 3 times my workload that they were giving me. And so I want you all to do an assessment. Now, I'm not telling anybody to go and quit your job. That is something that is between you, those who are closely around you, and something that you have to come to the conclusion works for you. I'm telling you what worked for me, and me allowing myself to be authentically who I am. Many told me that I would never make it. I can attest, I am here. I am an author. Knew I had a book in me. Not in the mindset to get the book out of me. That book has been published. It's out of me. It's gone. And it was meant to bless you all with overcoming trauma and being resilient in the midst of any storm. I am self-employed. I work when I want to. And I am free. Free to do the things that are within me, that my Creator blessed me with, to serve people in the manner that I want to serve, in a manner that people need to be served, without stress. Think about the things in your life that you want to be free of, that are connected with things that you do not want to hold you bound. Whether it be your job, any situation, is it worth the stress? Is it worth the drama? Is it worth the trauma? If you lived 100 years and you continue to do what you're doing now until you retire, would it have been time well spent? I'm going to leave this with you. There was a man who I had blessed with some poetry during a staff meeting, who called me after that staff meeting and told me that he had been thinking about retiring. But what would the agency do without him? He finally retired a few months later. I was at an engagement for that agency, and the bureau chief looked at me, and it was a group of us, and she was like, "Oh, I need to get better about doing my emails. Such and such died last week. Oh, Sharinda, cute shoes you have on." He thought about an agency that wasn't thinking about him. He transitioned, passed away 2 weeks after he retired. I knew then it was time for me to leave. When I leave this world, have no desire to be dormant seed in a watery grave. How about you? For those of you who celebrate Valentine's Day, happy Valentine's Day. I will be back on Monday. All of the homework is about listening to what I'm telling you. Self-reflection. What does fear and trauma mean to you? What are you willing to hold on to? And what are you willing to let go? In order that you may be free to be the person who you desire to be. As always, I love y'all. Peace. See y'all on Monday.